So Mehdi Hassan had Dean Phillips on his new show on Zeteo, which is his media outlet that he just recently launched. And man, this video clip here is absolutely devastating, what you're about to see. Now, Crystal and I, as you all know, we ran into our own issues with Dean Phillips. He tried to, play the victim in a debate with me and Crystal on Israel and Gaza, and basically accused me and Crystal of being stealth anti-Semites. And anyway, you can go watch that video if you'd like. It's up on the main channel. Or you could go sign up on Crystal, Kyle, and Friends and watch the whole debate that we had with him. But anyway, so Mehdi Hassan talks to Dean Phillips, and he is going to catch him speeding here just dead to rights, bro. I mean, he just... Dean Phillips walks right into this trap and just, looks around like, hot damn, I got caught in a trap. So here we go. Look at the line of questioning. Look at how Weasley Dean acts, and then look at the debate ender, which comes later in. And here we go. Let's dive in.
The other week, we saw 4 Israeli hostages rescued from inside of Gaza by an Israeli military and police operation, returned to their families. A very good thing. Mm-hmm. President Biden, Secretary of State Blinken, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan all reacted with praise, with celebration. None of them, in their initial responses, had a single word to say about the over 200 Palestinians reportedly killed, over 700 injured in that rescue operation, many of them innocent women and children. A lot of people have been asking this for the last 8-9 months. I'm sure you hear it in your constituency. Do Palestinian lives just not matter to the modern Democratic Party?
Oh, I think that's a horrifying statement. Let me acknowledge let me acknowledge the 38,000 human beings killed in Gaza, the 1,200 Israelis, but particularly the innocents. To me, it's all the same. They're human beings. I'm appalled and disgusted. First of all, there are Americans being held hostage. Here, let me change the lens for a moment. I believe, if anything, it has been the United States and the Biden administration should have been the foremost responsibility to extract our hostages, our nationals. I think there are 6 or 7 still. We don't know even if they're alive. So the question is, would we undertake an effort to extract American hostages, 2, 3, 4, 7, if we knew 200 civilians would be killed in the process?
What's the answer?
Boy, that's a tough. That's a
tough question.
That's a tough question.
What the fuck happened to people, bro? What the fuck happened? Okay, not only is that not a tough question, that is the most obvious and easy question I've ever heard in my life. So much so, there was a collective belief among the population for my whole life, even reflected in things like Hollywood movies, that obviously if you're the good guy, you need to go out of your way to make sure you don't kill any innocent civilians. And if you kill even one innocent civilians while trying to get the bad guy, then, that weighs on your conscience and you feel evil, you feel horrible. He's saying it's a tough one to figure out. To kill 200 innocent civilians to get 5, 6, or 7 U.S. hostages, that's not a tough question at all. That's not even close to a tough question. And by the way, it's particularly absurd, especially when we have a path to get all of the innocent hostages back. There's a path to do that. It's called negotiation. It's called diplomacy. It's called a total ceasefire in return for all the hostages. And it's the Israeli government saying no to that. So I don't know why they insist on living in this fucking Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris-ass world where it's they pretend as if there's not a deal on the table that could bring all the civilians home safe and sound right now, right? They pretend like that's the case. But they're insistent on, well, if you had to kill 200 civilians to save 5, 6, or 7, that's a kind of a tough question, bro. It's kind of a tough question. Look at Mehdi's face when he says it's a tough question. He's like, are you kidding me? No, the good guys would not even consider killing 200 innocent civilians to save 7. Jesus Christ. Because if you truly believe, and by the way, this is the guy, Dean Phillips just said, all civilian lives are equal. And then he goes on to clearly demonstrate that he doesn't believe they are equal.
If you're the leader of a country, absolutely.
You killed 200 people to save 6.
Mehdi, look at first of all, I'm the son of I'm a Gold Star son. I lost my dad in Vietnam. One of the most despicable, I think, wars of the United States has ever prosecuted. We've killed hundreds of thousands of innocent people over the years. We continue to. Look what we did in Japan to end a war. These are philosophical questions that most Americans would never want to be faced with.
But you're a member of Congress, right?
I'm a member of Congress.
You wanted to be president. So let me ask you the straight-up question.
Let me answer your question. I believe, as the President of the United States, his or her obligation should always be the safety and security of Americans first. It does not mean dismissing other humanity. But in the case of hostages, when it comes to this, and we've tried this before, and we've seen carnage. The fact of the matter is, I think we should extract. And by the way, if that means there are civilian deaths as a result, unfortunately, that's, I think, a cost.
Well, the cost implies there's no other choice. We, of course, know that there was another way to get the hostages out.
I have empathy.
Well, hold on. There's another way to get the hostages out. We got over 100 hostages out in a deal in November. You could have got Benjamin Netanyahu blocking another deal. But just I want to be very specific. In your view, Is killing 274 Palestinians, including many children, an acceptable price to pay for the freeing of 4 Israelis?
Like I said, I don't. This you want a clear answer, and you want to make this black and white.
Is it an acceptable price to pay?
It's an unacceptable price, but I think it's a price that has to be paid.
Oh my God! What does Zionism do to people's brains? I don't understand. What a barbaric thing to say. What a disastrous thing to say. By the way, Mehdi's about to hit him with the checkmate real quick. Let's dive in.
If you're saying that to get free people from the clutches of horrible captivity, hostages, people possibly being abused in captivity, to free them, you have to pay a price, right? It's a horrible price. Does that ratio work the other way? How many Israelis can Palestinians kill in order to free Palestinian detainees who are currently being tortured in Israeli captivity, some of them being raped to death, according to the New York Times last week? Can they kill 200 Israelis? Hold on, let me finish the question. Can they kill 200 Israelis to free 4 Palestinians who are being tortured in an Israeli prison?
I think it's a question that I'm sure Palestinians are asking the same way as Israelis.
But no, you answered it for Israel. I would like you to answer it in reverse.
Let me just clarify something you just said. You said Palestinian prisoners are being raped to death by Israeli soldiers?
Yes, this is a report in the New York Times last week.
Okay. I don't believe that to be true. Nonetheless, the question.
A 41-year-old detainee said the interrogators made me sit on something like a hot metal stick and it felt like fire. He said another detainee died after they put the electric stick up his anus.
No, it's repulsive.
What happened? He's like, I don't think that happened. Look, this is okay. One of the things you find when you debate Zionists is they have to start just denying facts. They have to start just denying reality. They have to start, no, I don't believe that. I don't think that's true. Okay, well, we have 7 different sources from well-respected news agencies that you would cite in other contexts. They're all saying that thing happened. And then you heard, I don't think that's true. Because what they do is they overlook all of the absolute barbaric, savage stuff that comes from the IDF, that comes from the Israeli government. They overlook that, and then they will play up all the barbaric, savage stuff that Hamas does, right? And so, but they don't have a full picture of the reality of the situation, or they're very selective with what they take in, right? So I don't doubt that he sincerely believes that's not true. That's not... Okay, but you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Dean Phillips. We've covered on this show, there were 42, according to Euromedmonitor, the human rights group, 42 different variations of torture that were being used in these Israeli concentration camps where they were doing horrific things to Palestinians. There's dog grape torture. We just talked about that. There's many eyewitnesses to that, and a doctor came out recently and said that, this is going on. So eventually you get to the point with Zionists where they just have to deny reality, right? That's all they have left. Because once you accept that is a thing that happened, all of a sudden, your whole worldview is exploded right in front of your face. Like everything you thought was true is not true. When you accept a fact like that. And so what does he do? He tried to not accept the fact. And then he got cornered. Mehdi said, hey, New York Times, quote, this is what they said. He's like, oh, that's repulsive. Well, 7 seconds ago, you said it didn't happen. Now you're admitting it happened. How are you going to weasel out of this one?
So to free people from that prison, can you kill lots of innocent people according to the logic of the raid in Gaza?
What I'm trying to say is, if you represent the Palestinian people, you represent the Israeli people, we look at this quite differently. I know
you do, which is why I'm asking the question, Congressman. I understand that you see it differently. A lot of people watching at home say, why? Why aren't all lives equal?
They should be.
But they're not.
Okay, so what happened there is Mehdi Hassan put him in a logic chokehold, and then he short-circuited. Because he knows what the answer to that question has to be, and he can't say it. Right? He can't say it. If you're saying it's okay for Israel to kill 274 Palestinians, including many children and innocent civilians, it's okay to kill 274 to get 4 Israeli hostages. If you're going to say that, if these human beings really are equal, as you said you believe, then you have to say it's okay for Palestinians to kill 274 Israelis, many of them civilians, many of them children, in order to get 4 Palestinian hostages back. But he doesn't believe that, right? It's so obvious he doesn't believe that. And it's such a great way to expose the double standards. It's such a great way to expose that one group is granted humanity and the other group is not. And even though he tries to play hide the ball and act like he's a humanist and act like he's a progressive, really when push comes to shove, eventually it becomes clear what he really believes, right? It's very clear. He believes Palestinians have, he dehumanizes Palestinians. He doesn't think their lives are worth as much. And he's an apologist for the Israeli government and for Israeli war crimes. And his strategy in dealing with that is just acting like, no, it's not true. All these disgusting stories of things that definitely have happened that the IDF did, it's not true. He's even one to deny the genocidal comments, one after the other, that have been made by Israeli top government officials and military people, etc. So, great job there from Mehdi Hassan. Really, really busted him up there. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.